And we are back again. Josh and Janae here with Dr. She, founder of Jinfiniti. And tell us a little bit about this. The term is precision medicine. And we know you are a data-driven person and expert in data, which we are so excited to hear what it is you're doing in this field. And we have lots of good questions for you. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. First of all, very nice to be here with you. And before I answer your question, I just want to give you a little more background on myself.
Yeah.
I'm actually a professor in medical schools for almost 40 years.
Okay.
And I had a very large research team at the University of Florida and then the Medical College of Georgia. My career has been focused on data science and disease prevention. How can we identify risk factors that predispose us to the development of diseases and injuries years in the future. And with my extensive academic experience, that I had a great career. I was very happy, but I was not truly happy. And the only thing that was lacking in an academic environment was our inability to translate our discoveries into practice, into something, a product or a service that can help the people who actually give us the money to do the research.
Yeah.
That's why I retired from my academic career about 3.5 years ago. And I founded the Jinfiniti Precision Medicine, which is the only goal. And the goal is to help people, including myself, to extend our health span by many years, at least 20 to 30 years. I firmly believe that right now is the time to do it. We have the technology, we have the methodology, we have the know-how to extend our health span by 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
And there are philosophies and there are protocols, approaches that we have to follow in order to achieve this ambitious goal. And my first message to everyone watching us is, we can do it. You can do it.
Yes.
Let's do it together.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, you mentioned something interesting as you were talking. You're talking about extending life 20, 30 years, and you say health span. Now, in your view, what's the difference between health span and lifespan? Because if we extend life 20 years and you're talking about health span in there, what are the things that you found that really do that in your research so far?
Let's define the two terms first. Lifespan versus health span. Lifespan is how many years you can live, whether you live vibrantly or in bed. As long as you are still alive, that's called it's a lifespan. I don't know how many people want to live for 100 years, 150 or 200 or whatever number of years you want to live in bed without being able to do the things that you used to be able to do, right?
That doesn't sound very
So
fun.
lifespan, I think, is certainly very important. In the biohacking community, especially the longevity community, I think a lot of people are really talking about what I call the maximum lifespan. A lot of people are spending time to debate the lifespan, but in their mind, I believe, is they are talking about what's the maximum number of years human beings can live. It's an academic question that I used to be interested in, but now I'm becoming a practical guy. So what I think what's important is how many years that you can live free of major diseases. That's how I define health span.
I love that.
Now, if we can extend the health span, by definition, you also extend lifespan. I'm giving a talk in about 1 hour in this Biohacks World Conference. And what I'm going to tell the audience is that we, our goal should be focusing on extension of health span. If you can extend the health span, you are going to extend your lifespan. That should be the message to the general public. And I may not be able to change the mind of many biohackers, but the message is to the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people who really worry about their health. How can they stay, how can they have the vitality, they have the ability to do the things they love for as long as possible. And my goal, my personal goal is to be able to play tennis at 100 and beyond. I think we can do it.
And I think, so this is great. So I play paddle tennis, so I'm also a racket guy. But I think it's so important what you said, which is and I'm going to draw just for some of the listeners, right, or watchers, there is a movement right now to classify, and I'm sure you know this, aging as a disease, and really doing that is sort of encapsulating what you say, right? Which is there is a proxy. We've been focused a long time on how do we extend, that the end goal, and sort of we've lost the forest through the trees a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
And really focusing on that health span will absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Like my goal is to live to 120 healthy. Right? I'm never going to get to 120 healthy if I end up with diabetes. Or cardiovascular disease, or cancers, or that anything of that nature. So, so I have to focus.
You make a great point, and this is, I actually have a slide for my talk. So if you look at the occurrence of major diseases, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular disease, and many others, they all start in the late 40s and mostly in the 50s and the 60s. Now, we should be able to delay or totally prevent the occurrence of all these diseases if we take appropriate actions early on. So I have a philosophy, and that's called TAO, T-A-O. And T is test, A is act, O is optimize.
I love that.
Now, this is we can probably dive a little more into it. And this is the procedure or the protocol that we can follow, that we must follow to achieve our dreams, basically. Now, in addition to these three important steps, I have 8 principles or pillars of the Tao, and these are 8 words. Let's start with the P.
Okay.
The first one is proactive. We were talking about this on the hallway. We want to take actions as soon as possible. It's never too early or never too late to take actions, but the earlier the better.
Yeah, and this
it's never too early.
Yeah.
My 7-year-old, even my 4-year-old daughters.
Oh, little kids.
They're little kids. They are already taking actions. Some people may argue, well, that's too early. No, it's never too early.
And this proactive approach, I would just want to go back to something you said earlier, because you're saying we start to see the symptoms of these diseases in 40s, 50s, and 60s, but that's not when they're starting. They're starting 20s, 30s, and so this proactive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With many issues, it actually start from birth or even prenatally. I can give you some examples. Vitamin D. This is an example that I talk about all the time because people understand what's a vitamin D. I think most people do, because when you are an infant, you were fed with vitamin D drops, whether you do breastfeeding or not. Almost every single, maybe not every single, over 90%, 95% of infants were given vitamin D, at least in the industrialized countries. Now, what I find really amazing and sad as well is after usually 2 or 3 years, we stop giving vitamin D to toddlers, to children. 70 to 90% of Americans, adults, are still deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah.
This is something that's so important, so easy to do, so cheap to change. Everyone should be able to afford it, but so many people.
But not everyone does if they are not educated on it, right? And
most
proactive.
people are not.
Yeah.
You know, at least over 70% of Americans are still deficient in vitamin D. You know, we conduct wellness longevity testing, and vitamin D deficiency is an extremely common one that we see. Now, not just for the average person. I test many very affluent people, you know, millionaires, billionaires. They are deficient in vitamin D. What's going on? Why they? You know, it does not cost much money at all. It's all about education. I'm a professor, and you know, I was a professor. I'm still a professor. You know, my mission is really about educating the public. I also spend a lot of time actually to educate doctors. I used to make doctors in medical schools, but now I'm outside of the academia, but I actually continue the mission. We need to bring the common sense, the science, the knowledge, and really everyone should be talking about it. Everyone should be bringing the information to as many people as possible. I really appreciate the job that you guys have been doing to disseminate the information. It's a very important part of what we have to do collectively as a community.
Yeah.
Well, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
So I coach a lot of folks on longevity protocols and setting up their plans.
Yeah.
Right. And there is a large portion of that's education to get them to feel like they're the CEO of their own body.
Yeah.
Right. They have more power running their business than they do running what's happening internally, and you know,
yeah.
they will test their sales process and their marketing and their, you know, all of that, and they will fix it, but they rarely do that with themselves.
Yeah, I mean you make a very good point. So I work with a lot of CEOs, people in the C-suite, and I was very saddened a few days ago, I think only 3 days ago, by the death of the Samsung CEO. I don't know what you heard of the news. He's only 65 years old. I don't know, you know, what was the cause, but for the CEO of a big company like Samsung to die at the age of 65, that's way too young. I mean, it's crazy. I'm a CEO now of a small company, but I know how much pressure the CEOs are under, but they very often forget about their own health. And if you don't have health, you have nothing.
That's right.
I don't care how many billions of dollars you have. Without the health, it doesn't matter what's your purpose.
Right.
I mean, whether you want to make more money or you want to serve the society, if you don't have the health, you cannot accomplish your mission.
Yeah.
So my message to the CEOs and to pretty much everyone, especially people who are under a lot of pressure, really pay attention to your health. You can get a lot of help, and we have solutions to keep you healthy, and just spend a little more time on your own well-being, and that's the only way that you can help more people and for a longer period of time.
So, Dr. She, how do you use your testing and precision medicine to customize recommendations for people when they have that revelation? Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
After they make the choice, how do you help them on that path?
Yeah, so we all have some what I call sub-health issues, suboptimal health, sub-health issues. And we have multiple sub-health issues, each of us does. But also each of us has a different subset of health issues. Well, you can say that just take everything that's available on the market and use every technology that's available. But that's very hard to do.
That's the Brian Johnson approach, right? Throw
everything. It's the Brian Johnson approach. Yes and no. Brian Johnson actually uses data. Brian Johnson works with me and uses some of my tests and supplements. But not everyone can be the Brian Johnson. Right. Not only for the money, but also for the will and the dedication.
That's right.
I think that's probably more important. A lot of people have enough money to do the Brian Johnson approach, but it's very hard to follow. It's not practical. It may or may not be the best way to do things. So where I come in is to help people identify the major issues they have, so they can target the main issues. What I often tell my clients is, I want to identify, that sounds very bad, I want to warn you. I want to identify the top 3 issues that are going to kill you first. I'm not an immortalist. I believe the human species is not made to live forever. And if we do, then we become a very different species. Yeah. That's a superhuman species that we're not here to talk about. Yes. We can have another conversation about that, but that's not what we're about. So I want to identify the top 3 issues that are going to kill you first. We all are likely going to die, or definitely going to die. I want to delay that process. I want to know. We only die of one thing, even though we may have multiple risk factors that can kill us, but we die of one thing only. I want to take that one thing away from you first, then I'm going to take the second problem that's going to kill you, and then I'll take the third one away. I said that I can help you to extend your health span and lifespan by 20 to 30 years. That's how I do it.
And that's significant, by the way, right? Because most people that I know, when they hit that 55, 60, there is a decline, and we know, we've seen that decline right in the population health data. So saying that you can take my vitality and my energy and my sex drive and my will to live from and encapsulating that right and pulling that forward, that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So we basically take the major risk factors away by a very personalized and precision approach, and then we'll deal with the next set of issues. So this is how we can give you more and more healthy years. This can be done, and we have the technology, we have the methodology, and the main risk factors that we focus on are in 8 categories. And that may take a little more time to explain, but it's basically all age-related diseases have an inflammatory component. A lot of people know about it, a lot of doctors know about it and talk about it. But what they don't know is there are many, many other issues that are equally or even more important than inflammation. The example I can give you 3 examples or even more. The second one that's highly related to inflammation is cellular senescence, or zombie cells. Some biohackers probably know, but the main public does not. Zombie cells are cells that are supposed to die. We have renewal of cells all the time in our body. Old cells that don't function well should be cleared out, and so new cells can be made to carry out the proper function. But zombie cells refuse to die when they are supposed to die. Not only they don't die, they don't function, they don't carry out their function, but they secrete a lot of inflammatory cytokines. For chronic diseases, the main source of inflammation actually is zombie cells or senescent cells.
So cells that are not turning over and dying in their proper
cells that
frame.
are not turning over, they are not dying when they are supposed to die, and they secrete a lot of inflammatory mediators. And usually inflammatory proteins are secreted by immune cells, and secretion of immune cytokines still contribute to inflammation, but the main source is actually zombie cells. You really want to clear these zombie cells to stay healthy. We have a lot of data, some are published, some are not. We know senescence, for example, can influence the response to chemotherapy in cervical cancer patients, and the survival as well. And it's involved in many major diseases, including neurological conditions.
I always feel like the senescent cells are sort of like the quarterback of the football team, right? But they're on the bench, but everybody still likes to hang out with them,
right?
So it's like you gotta like just take your spot over there.
The toxic party going on in your body, based on popularity.
That's a very good analogy. So the senescence there, and now this secrete cytokines, and then like the football, you can have a running game. The running game usually only influence the healthy cells around the senescent cells, but you can also have a passing game through the blood, through circulation. They can travel to remote sites and have bad influence on healthy organs in other parts of the body. So senescence is a big issue in our health, and we need to clear them, and multiple companies are developing new product to clear senescence, and you want to test, to see which product works for you or not, and we have a senescence test. I mean, the only senescence test on the market, and it can be used to assess your senescence burden and whether your senolytics is actually working or not. And that's really a very important tool.
So I'm curious on that one. How is that test administered?
It's a blood test,
okay,
and it's a protein that's secreted by senescent cells into the blood circulation.
So you're essentially able to measure how much of that process is still in the blood, and
that's
then
right.
that gives you an idea of how much of that's going on in the body.
That's right, absolutely right.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So the second example that I want to give you is called oxidative stress. Many people may not know it, but they may have heard of free radicals or reactive oxygen species. This is a major problem for the US population. And about 80 to 90% or even more of Americans have very high oxidative stress levels. And while Europeans have only about 10 to 15% of Europeans have high oxidative stress.
Yeah, that's quite a difference.
It's quite a difference, and the main reason is related to the food.
Okay.
And
which we all know,
the
standard American diet is
a lot
quite
of carbohydrates.
inflammatory.
And this is a major problem that we are not paying enough attention. That's the bad news. The good news is we can test it very well, and we also have very good solutions.
Okay.
Now, many people know that you should take antioxidants, and antioxidants can help reduce the oxidative stress. But what most people don't know is almost all the antioxidant products on the market don't necessarily give you the outcome you need. Again, the message is get tested, find out whether it's actually working for you or what the product works for you specifically. Because one product can work for one person but not for another.
Yes, and this is where you get very specific with each patient.
Yeah.
Now, I think we're getting close to the end of our time, and to end, I want to ask one last question. So, you are a data guy, and in working with all the people that you've worked with, have you noticed, you say you address the top 3 things that are the highest risk factors for each person. Have you noticed a trend in kind of what those top 3 things tend to be, and what can our listeners do if they might be at higher risk of these things, and then where do they find you?
All right, great question. Now the top 3 things, the first one is NAD deficiency. We didn't have time to talk about it. And almost every adult is deficient in NAD. NAD is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. It's a coenzyme very important for all cellular function. And almost every adult is deficient. But 25% of teenagers are already deficient.
Already as a teenager.
Even young infants, including my 7-year-old daughter, is deficient in NAD. If you get your NAD optimized, everything else you do will become more efficient. So get NAD tested, get NAD optimized. They are very good solutions available, but you must get tested to know whether it's working for you. The second one I would say is oxidative stress.
Yep.
That we just talked about. Very, very big problem. We know how to test it. We know how to solve the problem. And the next one is senescence / inflammation. And these two are together. They are closely tied together. So if these 3 issues are involved in almost all the major diseases that we talk about every day. And there are more, but if you want to focus on the 3 root causes of disease, these are the 3.
This is so great because we've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of days, and a recurring theme is root cause, right? So when we talk about living longer and extending health span, it's about getting to the root. It's about having those foundational elements. And that's part of why I love what you do, right? Is that data-driven approach to discovering those foundational elements and shoring up the foundation is the first step. Nobody's going to build a house if the foundation is flawed, right? And so for me personally, and all of my experience, this resonates a lot because using the data to shore up the foundation and making sure everything is at right angles and everything is plumb and everything is solid is the only way that we can begin when we start talking about eliminating our risk for disease.
You have the last word. You summarized it perfectly. So
that was perfect.
I cannot top you, so I will not try.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Shannon. Just for our, sorry, Dr. She. Thank you so much, Dr. She. And where does our audience find you?
Well, you can find us at jinfiniti.com.
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 Great. Well, we'd love to have you back. There's like 3 or 4 things that you mentioned that I want to go deep on. So let's have another chat.
Let's talk. I can sit here and talk for days.
I love it.
If you are not bored.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Very nice.
Very nice.
It doesn't take one conference, it takes multiple. That's why I hope to see you guys in Chicago, Miami. You guys should join my WhatsApp group, and we all truly become friends.